Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, American Comics. Break Wanda, Get Superman Template. Chapter 41. Arctic. High in the sky, a fierce wind whizzed past, blowing up Red Skull's clothes. He said arrogantly, "Your strength is good, and you are actually a first-level agent. How about submitting to me? I will give you a good position and dominate this planet together." As the current S.H.I.E.L.D. director still Fury. He is really stupid. A talent like you has not been reused. Come, kneel on the ground and surrender to me. He keeps saying that he attaches importance to it, and makes people kneel down. Duplicity, it's you. Yi Tian sneered. I never believe what the enemy says. Red Skull's face darkened. Since you are not willing to submit, then go to die. The palm is charged, and the powerful force is gathered. The surrounding space is slightly distorted. Rumble. With a punch, light blue energy poured out. There was a sudden gust of wind around. The power contained in this punch is so terrifying. Mare Falca, this power is too terrifying. Namor lay on the ice with shock on his resolute face. Phil Coulson was short of breath, struggling to open his eyes in the strong wind. Can Yi Tian block this punch? Natasha Romanoff's green fingers turned white. There is worry in the eyes. Have no idea. This punch surpassed the imagination of ordinary people. Even a ray of Tesseract's energy can make a person extremely powerful. No, Mr. Yi Tian, you can defeat all enemies. Marcus lay on the ground, and the wind and snow almost buried him and several of his subordinates. That's right, Yi Tian can always surprise us, can't he? Phil Coulson muttered to himself. It seems to be speaking to the people around me, but it also seems to be speaking to myself. In the sky, a strong fist wind howled. With strong wind pressure, the corners of Yi Tian's clothes fluttered. The violent energy surged like a sea tide. Yi Tian stood still like a rock. His breath was concentrated, and all emotions were left behind. The energy in the body surged extremely fast. At this moment, he is at his best. Yi Tian flicked the thumb holding the handle of the saber, and the blade came out of its sheath an inch. The sharp sword glow suddenly appeared. Clang. Vibranium long knife unsheathed. The slender light of the knife is like a thin line. The wind is no longer howling, and the snowflakes are no longer falling. At this moment, the whole world seemed to stand still. There is only one knife, cutting through the space, and passing by in a flash. Clang. There was another knife cry. The 4-foot-long black gold long knife was still in the scabbard. It seemed that the sound of drawing the knife just now was an auditory hallucination. Yi Tian turned and left. Real man, never look back at the explosion. Everyone was dumbfounded. What is Yi Tian doing? Is he a joke? Leave your back to the enemy, Fury, this is your agent. Launch a nuke, launch a nuke. In the meeting room, the military and parliamentarians roared. After holding back for a long time, he slashed out with a knife, turned and left. This is too arrogant. However, face the Red Skull who has mastered the power of the Tesseract. The price of this arrogance will be death. Fury frowned. He sensed something was wrong. The situation doesn't seem right. There's something wrong, Fury, you don't want to delay any longer. Once Red Skull escapes, you can't afford it. Ross growled. Shut up, Fury yelled, looking at the screen. Suddenly his pupils shrank sharply, as if he saw something incredible. In midair, Red Skull was not moving. After a few seconds, click. The light blue energy shield in front of Red Skull split open. Immediately afterwards, a slender knife mark was split on the surface of Red Skull's body. Crash! Blood spurted out and splashed in the air. Red Skull's body was directly split in half. It fell from the air and landed on the ice with a bang. The host breaks the killing ring and rewards 2 chicken legs. Yi Tian, Grandmas, the rewards are getting worse. I hope 10 critical strikes won't disappoint me. Except for the whistling wind, there was silence around. Look at the Red Skull smashed into mud on the ground. All the people watching the battle swallowed a mouthful of spit. A few minutes ago, with great power, the situation changed with one punch. It also has a grand plan to rule the entire planet. But now, it was cut in half by someone. This almost twofold change made everyone feel unreal. However, no matter how unbelievable they are, the fact that appeared in front of his eyes was quite cruelly told to everyone. The leader of Hydra, the greatest enemy of Captain America, made countless people stand by, and the trembling Red Skull died. The corpses were smashed to pieces. In the conference room, everyone was silent. After a short silence, Fury felt ecstasy. Yi Tian is already very powerful. Stronger than he expected. At the same time, I feel a little rejoiced in my heart. Fortunately, when Yi Tian was weak, he took the initiative to solicit Yi Tian with an equal attitude. And after Yi Tian blocked the entrance of the White House, he spared no effort to resist all the pressure. All of this, now it seems, is worth it. I am Tefik. That knife, why is it so terrifying? Red Skull was hacked to death. This Yi Tian is so powerful. Several congressmen exclaimed. Looking at each other, they saw the shock in each other's eyes. They made up their minds, Yi Tian must not be easily provoked. Others are afraid of their status as a member of parliament, but Yi Tian is not. Once offended, the latter has an unscrupulous character and will strike down without hesitation. At the same time, they looked at the military people with half smiles. Represented by Ross, the faces of several people in the military were gloomy. The stronger Yi Tian is, the more unfavorable it is for them. The military is more than their own force. We must not allow Yi Tian to develop like this, otherwise, the consequences will be unimaginable. Rose narrowed his eyes slightly. The North Pole at the moment. Yi Tian looked indifferent, and walked down from the air with his hands behind his back. Natasha Romanoff was the first to react and ran over. Win, that knife is so cool. The cold Black Widow was as excited as a child at the moment. Hold me, listening to the weak words in the ear. Natasha Romanoff was taken aback for a moment, and then realized. He quietly supported Yi Tian. Her beautiful eyes fell in the distance. I understand Yi Tian's thoughts. At this moment, thousands of Atlantis warriors gathered. Don't look at the Namor brothers who are long and brothers who are short. Once the intention to kill is moved, several people could not escape. You are very careful, Natasha Romanoff said softly. Yi Tian, what careful? What did Natasha Romanoff imagine? It's hard to show yourself in front of people, pretend to be complete. The first time I flew so high, my legs were a little soft. Natasha Romanoff is so soft. It's such a nice touch. Natasha Romanoff felt Yi Tian's whole body sticking to him. I was secretly surprised in my heart. That unremarkable knife seems to have another mystery. Let Yi Tian have no strength at all. Farewell to Aquaman Namor. Yi Tian and others left the North Pole. The plane crossed the sky smoothly and flew towards New York. In the cabin, Captain America was lying on the ground, his body had already thawed. Normal heartbeat, normal breathing. Phil Coulson checked and let out a long breath. Captain America is still alive after being frozen for decades. He looked a little excited. Captain America, Steve Rogers, is his idol. In his desk, there is also a photo album of Captain America. Yi Tian knew that Captain America's survival was due to the super soldier serum. In the American comics universe, only Captain America has been injected with the perfect super soldier serum. American buttocks, it's really not covered. Yi Tian looked at Captain America. Reminds me of a clip from Avengers Alliance 4. Holding the scabbard in a mysterious way, he slapped Steve's ass. Very flexible. What are you doing? Phil Coulson stopped Yi Tian's behavior. This is my idol. Yi Tian snapped. I'm just asking if you're curled up or not. After a moment of silence, Phil Coulson choked out, the buttocks are really pretty. Just then, Captain America coughed out a mouthful of ice water. The whole person woke up faintly. As a super soldier, his reflexes are quick. The first time he woke up, his eyes became sharp, and he punched Phil Coulson. Boom. Kraft, what are you doing? Phil Coulson took a step back covering his eyes. I'm Tefa. Natasha Romanoff couldn't help but swear. Beating someone up after waking up is too much. As the red lips parted and closed, Yi Tian was burning with desire. Who are you? Captain America. Steve looked at the three warily. We are your friends. Phil Coulson grinned, gasping for air in pain. He looked resentful. Anyone who gets punched in vain will not be happy. Even if it was hit by one's own idol, it is no exception. I don't have any Hydra friends, Steve said quietly. For him, the memory still stays decades ago. He was on a Hydra plane and it crashed into the North Pole. Therefore, he regarded Phil Coulson and others as Hydra. As soon as the words fell, he kicked Phil Coulson. When you become my prisoner, you will tell the truth. This kick is heavy. Snapped. There was a crisp sound. A scabbard appeared out of nowhere and was drawn on Captain America's leg. What a powerful force. Captain America was secretly surprised. Staggering back 2 steps. Sit down and talk, or I'll beat you down, Yi Tian said. Captain America snorted coldly. There are many people who talk big to me, but they are all beaten up. After finishing speaking, he punched Yi Tian. As a soldier, he was fearless. Boom. Yi Tian stretched out his hand calmly, and caught the casserole-sized fist. Then the other hand picked up the scabbard and slammed it at Captain America's ass. Clap clap. Captain America struggled, but found that the person in front of him was so powerful that he couldn't be shaken. A moment later, Captain America sat on his seat, slightly sideways. The palm secretly rubbed the buttocks. Phil Coulson explains. Now it's clear, the war is over, it's a new era, Phil Coulson said. Seeing Captain America's small movements, Pist burst out laughing. Natasha Romanoff stared at Captain America's asymmetric ass. Also giggled. They are professionally trained agents who don't usually smile. Unless you can't help it. Stop laughing. Hiss. Captain America turned away. But because he touched the wound, he trembled in pain. You should keep me frozen, Captain America said quietly. Just after waking up from decades of ice, he encountered such a social death. It's his steel-like heart, which can't hold on. So, this incident tells us not to be impulsive, Yi Tian said. Shut up, do you still want to fight again? Captain America was furious. It's all this nasty bald man who made himself ashamed. Yi Tian said calmly. You can't beat me, Captain America. The plane quickly landed at S.H.I.E.L.D. Captain America Steve was taken to the hospital. A normal physical examination is still required. In the meeting room, Fury showed a satisfied smile. Concerned inquiry Yi Tian. How's your stay at S.H.I.E.L.D. lately? Typical officialdom. Yi Tian said he didn't want to answer. It's okay, but the workload is a bit heavy. In the past few days, I have traveled to several places. Fury smiled helplessly. Other agents perform tasks for half a month or even a year. And Yi Tian is too perverted. No matter how perverted the enemy is. Fights are basically settled on the same day. How about a promotion and a raise? Fury smiled like an old fox. Promoted to level 2 agent. Yi Tian rolled his eyes. Phil Coulson said. Yi Tian, it takes a year for an ordinary agent to be promoted, even if he has contributed. You've only been here for a few days, so be content. Yi Tian asked. How long did it take you to go from level 1 to level 2? Phil Coulson shook his head and puffed up his chest. I entered S.H.I.E.L.D., directly a 6th level agent. Yi Tian. Fake. You can shut up now. Fury chuckled, stood up, and looked out the window. I want to promote you to deputy director. Yi Tian said. Director, you can compare as you like, I have been listening carefully. Phil Coulson gasped, looking at Fury in disbelief. After a long silence, Phil Coulson put his arms around Yi Tian's shoulders. Your promotion speed is the first in S.H.I.E.L.D.'s history. He wasn't jealous at all, he was only happy. Out of the conference room, Phil Coulson blinked. When the appointment is made, everyone will be shocked. Yi Tian wondered. Aren't you worried that I'll grab your position as chief? You are my person, what am I worried about? Phil Coulson said frankly. Okay, I'll discuss the specific time with the director. Phil Coulson turned and entered the conference room. Fury, the old fox, what kind of medicine is sold in the gourd? Yi Tian was a little puzzled. Yi Tian, this is the file about Caecilius. In the distance, Hill walked over. She has short hair, wears a white shirt, and looks very capable. Thank you. Yi Tian reached for it. He did not forget the task of going down the mountain. Hill took a step back, shaking the file in his hand. The thing you asked me to do is finished, why don't you treat me to a meal? Yi Tian shrugged his shoulders. You are so busy with everything that you don't touch the ground every day. I invite you, but you don't have time. Quote, I have time the night after tomorrow. Hill blinked and said playfully. The agents passing by all looked sideways. The Hill agent, who has always been known for her ability, shows a cute little woman's posture. This is a big deal. After all, Hill is one of the rare 9-level agents. At the same time, he is also the commander-in-chief of the floating carrier. My God, I'm not mistaken. Keep your voice down so you don't get overheard. Several agents whispered. Hill glared, and directly scolded. Have you finished your work? Go and sort out the files from the past few years. Several agents showed expressions of wanting to die. No, I won't give it to you. Hill pretended to be angry and said. The rapid change of mood made several agents cry. It's more popular than Deadman. Even though Yi Tian is a newcomer, the treatment is good. Okay, Yi Tian replied. Take a meal, no big deal. Especially a beauty like Hill. Hill then gave the file to Yi Tian with satisfaction. Opening the file, Yi Tian frowned. Caecilius had appeared in Queens 3 days earlier. Then went to Gotham City. Yi Tian, what's wrong? Hill asked. Yi Tian put away the file. Hill, give me 2 days off, I'm going to Gotham City. Then be careful, Gotham City. Hill stopped talking halfway. No matter how dangerous Gotham City is, for Yi Tian, it is a matter of one knife. Yi Tian returned to his residence. Doctor Strange is waving his hands, constantly drawing circles. In front of the finger, little golden sparks splashed. It's been a week, and you haven't learned yet, Yi Tian said speechlessly. You are the worst ability I have ever seen. How long did you use it? Doctor Strange asked back. I was 6 years old that year, and it took 15 minutes. Yi Tian said. Doctor Strange complained, it must have something to do with my hand. He pointed out that his hand had been injured. Shut up, you, I have a younger brother who lost his hands, the thief 6 drawn by the portal. Yi Tian said, by the way, I'm going to Gotham City recently. I want to go too, Doctor Strange said. He was suffocated in this room. Yi Tian covered himself with a quilt. The Portal Gate Society, I will take you there, otherwise we won't talk about it. Waking up the next morning, Yi Tian stretched himself. I slept so comfortably last night. What's wrong with you? In front of him, Doctor Strange stared at the big dark circles, bloodshot eyes. You're awake, I've learned, Doctor Strange said excitedly. Stretch out 2 fingers and concentrate. A golden flame flashed, and a portal appeared in front of him. Not bad, not bad. Yi Tian clapped his hands. Now, it's easier to travel. Faster than an airplane. With magic, who the hell wants a bicycle? Gotham City. A legendary city. Like New York not far away, it is a gathering place for many big events. Every year, more than a dozen supernatural beings appear. Similarly, it is also a paradise for criminals. At this moment, night fell. A thick layer of dark clouds hung over the city full of tall buildings. Like a dark curtain, blocking the starlight and moonlight. The street lights on both sides are also extraordinarily dim. Several of them seem to be broken, flickering on and off, making people extremely depressing. On both sides of the street, vendors hurriedly closed their stalls. The passers-by also looked in a hurry without any conversation. Just rushed towards the destination. After all, this is Gotham. At night, criminals hiding in the dark will appear. The night does not belong to them. If something goes beyond. When the sun rises tomorrow morning, there will be one more corpse in the stinking garbage dump. And this depressive emotion spread throughout the city. At this moment, in an alley, suddenly a golden light lit up. Then a circular portal appeared. Sparks flew everywhere, but they were extremely stable. Yi Tian and Doctor Strange walked out. Next to them is a garbage dump. The pungent smell almost made the two of them spit out. Next time, keep the portal away from the garbage dump, Yi Tian said. Doctor Strange held his nose and took 2 steps back. Suddenly, his pupils constricted. In the trash, he saw an arm. As a surgeon, Doctor Strange couldn't be more certain. It was a real arm, not plastic or rubber. Yi Tian, there's a corpse over there. Yi Tian looked calm. There are dead bodies in Gotham City, it's normal. It's not normal to have no corpses. Don't make a fuss, the folk customs are simple and honest. Gotham City, Arkham has a lot of talents. Yi Tian said with a smile. The previous life came to mind. Netizens who love American comics often say this sentence. I'm going to call the police, Doctor Strange said. Yi Tian didn't stop either. After a while, Doctor Strange cursed angrily, these policemen are really irresponsible. And at this moment, night fell. The whole alley suddenly darkened. Where are we going? Doctor Strange asked. Yi Tian thought for a moment. let's go to the Wayne Group. In this part of Gotham City, two people are better informed than S.H.I.E.L.D. Batman the Righteous. Evil Emperor Joker. Don't move, hand over your valuables. A tall figure came out from around the corner. With a gun in his hand, he said fiercely. Excitement shone in the criminal's eyes. It was going to rain soon, and he thought that he would not get any money tonight, so he would return empty-handed. As a result, I met two people. God has really cared for me. Today's dinner is settled. The criminal laughed loudly. Yi Tian was also stunned. Within 5 minutes of arriving in Gotham City, I met a criminal. Is it a coincidence, or are there really a lot of criminals? Hurry up, give me the money. The criminal said in a low voice. Don't make me shoot. He was anxious and angry. Recently, there has been an extra vigilante named Batman. Fight criminals everywhere. He had several companions, all of whom were sent to prison. And he doesn't want to go to jail. Yi Tian's expression was calm, and his mood did not fluctuate at all. It didn't seem like he was being pointed at. I bet you have no bullets in your gun. Yi Tian said. Under supervision, he easily saw the empty magazine through the gun body. It's pitiful enough for a criminal to get involved in this. You will regret it. A trace of panic flashed across the criminal's face. The burly body rushed over, fists raised high. Boom. Yi Tian kicked it out. Criminals come fast and go fast. The body flew upside down and hit the wall heavily. Boom. Cracks like spider webs spread out on the wall. As for the criminal, his head shrugged. His chest collapsed and he was dead. Congratulations to the host for breaking the killing ring and getting a reward, 100 lighthouse coins. Dr. Strange's eyelids twitched. Didn't say much. He picked up the pistol on the ground and said in surprise. There's really no bullets. How do you know that? Yi Tian pointed to the eyes. I have clairvoyance. Dr. Strange rolled his eyes. You can use another excuse. Don't wear underwear with cartoon avatars, you're already an adult. Listening to Yi Tian's words, Dr. Strange was stunned for a moment, and then his face turned red. Fake, don't look at me with clairvoyant eyes from now on. The two moved on. Suddenly there was a rush of cries for help. I beg you, let my daughter go, she is still young. Mom, help me, Mom. Yi Tian and the two quickly walked a few steps. Impressively saw 3 criminals covered in tattoos. They surrounded 2 scavengers. This is a mother and daughter. The mother was in her 30s, and the little girl was only 13 or 14. The clothes on his body have been torn. In Gotham City, ordinary people are often miserable. Yi Tian couldn't help frowning. I'll give you all the money and let my daughter go. The woman knelt on the ground, tears and snot mixed together. It looked miserable. She frantically fished out her pockets. The pocket was turned inside out, and a few coins and half a loaf of moldy bread fell out. This is all her property. Hee hee, I want the money, and I want your daughter too. Scarface among the 3 sneered. The heel of the shoe stepped on the woman's palm fiercely. With a few clicks, several fingers were broken. The woman wailed in pain. Mom, Mom. The little girl struggled to see her mother's injuries. Snapped. Scarface stared, and slapped him down. 5 red palm prints emerged, occupying half of the girl's face. Shut up the woman and bring in Batman. Scarface cursed. A cruel smile appeared on his face. The men nodded and pointed their guns at the woman. Boom. A muffled gunshot rang out. The little girl wanted to shout, but her mouth was covered. Can only make whining noises. In the eyes, tears flowed down. Helpless and terrified. This is Gotham City. There are many criminals and crimes continue. No matter how painful you are to survive, there will always be accidents that will completely destroy your life. A long knife cut across the sky, reflecting the desperate eyes of the woman and the ferocious face of the criminal. Click. A wound was opened on the necks of the 2 criminals. A trace of unwillingness and fear of death flashed in his eyes, and then he fell to the ground. Who are you? Scarface exclaimed, aiming his gun at Yi Tian in a panic. However, he never got another chance to shoot. Big hands locked Scarface's neck. The palm of his hand was like a steel bar. No matter how he struggled, he would not move a single muscle. Click. The scarred face and cervical spine were crushed. Enduring the severe pain, the woman gave Yi Tian a vigilant look, and hurried away with her daughter. We're not bad people, Dr. Strange said. However, This mother and daughter have long since distrusted anyone. Congratulations to the host. The rewards are not surprising, they are very ordinary. There are 2 more sticks in the system space. It's only one more time to get the critical strike reward. Yi Tian was a little excited. I don't know if the rewards will be richer. You shouldn't have killed them. A deep voice sounded, and a figure stepped out from the shadows in the distance. He was wearing a black combat uniform with a bat logo on his chest. Batman, Bruce Wayne. Yi Tian sneered inwardly. Batman is still too Madonna. Confront these criminals. If you pity them, you are irresponsible to ordinary legitimate people. People who kill people will always kill them. A sinful city like Gotham City should strike hard. Let these moths of society, when committing crimes, consider the price of death. Hit 1 punch to avoid 100 punches. They deserve death, Yi Tian said in a deep voice. Doctor Strange nodded in agreement. Batman frowned, warning. In Gotham City, don't make trouble, otherwise, I will arrest you. From the fight just now, he can judge the person in front of him. The strength is extraordinary. Gotham City is already in chaos, and he doesn't want any more accidents. Hello, Bruce Wayne, Yi Tian said with a smile. Doctor Strange looked at Batman in surprise. The messenger of justice in the night turned out to be Bruce Wayne, a super rich man. Assets are spread all over the world. The real wealth is invincible. Batman's eyes sharpened sharply. The person in front of him actually knew his identity. What? Wrong. The person in front of me is somewhat familiar. Hi, I'm Shield Yi Tian. Yi Tian introduced himself. There is no hiding the identity of Shield. Shield is a secret from others. For the existence of Batman, it is easy to know. Yi Tian, I'm laughing at the sky, I'm going to keep Yi Tian, who is as brave as Kunlun. Batman froze for a moment, his eyes showing shock. He still knows about Yi Tian. 1 person, 1 knife, stopped at the entrance of the White House. He is regarded as an idol by countless people. Doctor Strange straightened his back, proudly. So what about Bruce Wayne? Seeing Yi Tian, he was not the same surprised. Yi Tian took out the file and handed it over. Definitely, it's all simple information. Caecilius, magic. Batman rubbed the space between his brows. What he hates the most are people with special abilities who disrupt social order. When you said that, I suddenly remembered what happened some time ago. Batman said, the bank under my property suffered a horrific explosion, and there were no bomb fragments at the scene. Batman presses a button on his arm. A light curtain appears with several photos on it. In the photo, the steel was easily cut. Then, Batman called up another video. Several figures rushed into the bank, and then the camera was destroyed. Play it again. Stop. Yi Tian narrowed his eyes slightly as he looked at the faces in the picture. Caecilius, found you. Doctor Strange leaned forward. He's the guy who defected, he's so ugly. Yi Tian nodded. The corrosion of dark magic will cause ugly lines on people's body. Caecilius, in order to gain more powerful power. Take refuge in the dimension Mephisto Dormammu and acquire dark magic. Single-mindedly want to destroy the real world, welcome the arrival of Dormammu. Thinking of this, Yi Tian looked at Doctor Strange beside him. He remembered that the Dormammu invasion was defeated by Doctor Strange using the time gem. By constantly resetting the time, he was killed tens of thousands of times. Dormammu had no choice but to give up the invasion of Earth temporarily. Doctor Strange spoke again. What's next? Yi Tian had killing intent in his eyes. Kill him directly. Batman nodded. I'll go back to the Wayne Group first. There is a program there that can access all the cameras in Gotham City. Batman clicked a button. At this time, a streamlined sports car appeared in the distance. The shape is handsome, the color is black, simple and elegant. The low roar shows the powerful horsepower. The eyes of Yi Tian and Doctor Strange are shining. No man can refuse Batman's sports car. Are you going together? Batman asked. Yi Tian shook his head. I'll go to the bank first to see if there are any clues. Batman nodded. The sports car disappeared into the end of the field of vision like a black streamer. At the intersection, Yi Tian's fingers in the sleeve robe condensed a pale golden rune. This rune can perceive the remaining traces of magic within 3 days. Useful for tracking down Caecilius. Come to the main road. Two people. Many police officers are patrolling to maintain safety. The commercial streets on both sides are brightly lit. On the street, many people were playing and playing. There are also couples cuddling with each other. Here, it's like a normal city. Doctor Strange opened his mouth, feeling that the oppressive atmosphere had eased a lot. Yi Tian smiled faintly. There is no safe place in Gotham City. His eyes fell on the street lamp. There is a reward list posted on it. Inside is a man with seaweed hair and pale dye painted on his face. There is madness in the eyes, and the red mouth that occupies half of the face below. In the picture, Joker is laughing wildly. Just looking at the past will make people feel the coolness that goes deep into the bone marrow. Is this the Joker? It's chilling. Doctor Strange felt the madness. Yi Tian nodded, a crazy but charismatic guy. Otherwise, Harley Quinn would not be willing to be Harley Quinn. At this time, boom, a terrible explosion sounded. The terrifying air current swept the surroundings with flames. Huge amounts of impact fall on moving cars. The entire carriage flipped violently. The blood mixed with the oil and water in the fuel tank and dripped to the ground. Gunshots rang out. More than a dozen gangsters frantically shot people on the street. Within a few minutes, the entire street was littered with dead bodies. There were screams everywhere. Some people looked for their severed arms in horror, only to find severed limbs everywhere on the ground. So many that I can't tell which one is my own. There are also men who cried while hugging their lovers, and were killed by a bullet. Not far away, a figure with green hair in a suit slowly appeared. Let me introduce myself. I'm Jack Napier, people prefer to call me Joker. Yi Tian, welcome to Gotham City, this is my meeting gift for you. Jack put his hands on his chest gracefully and introduced himself like a gentleman. It's just that ferocious corner of the mouth, but it scares everyone around to tremble. Joker's ferocious smile made everyone's hair stand on end. Yi Tian glanced across the corpses all over the ground, his eyes were extremely cold. In the last second, this place was full of laughter. Now, it's like hell. Hands up, or we'll shoot. More than a dozen bandits surrounded Yi Tian and pointed their guns at them. Yi Tian's voice was cold. Haha, look at this bald head, at this moment, he is still arrogant. People regard you as a hero, but I want to see if your head can block bullets. Today, I will let you die here, you bald idiot. The gangsters laughed. There is fierceness in the eyes. Die. Yi Tian's voice was cold. He punched him with a punch. The terrifying fist wind strangled 7 or 8 gangsters into flesh. Shoot, shoot. The rest of the bandits pulled the trigger one after another. All the bullets fell on Yi Tian. However, it didn't work. The bullet bounced and was directly bounced off. Facing Yi Tian's steel body, bullets can't do a little damage. I surrender, send me to prison. The gangster dropped his gun. He looked at Yi Tian with a sneer. Yi Tian stretched out his hand and placed it on top of the bandit's head. Click. The head was shattered, and the gangster was bleeding from all 7 orifices, lying on the ground. Fack. You killed him. We have already surrendered, and you still kill him. The rest of the gangsters roared in horror. Feeling panic for the first time. In their cognition, just surrender. Superheroes will let them go. Throw them in jail. It's true for Batman, it's true for the Flash, it's true for Superman. I'm not them. Yi Tian exuded a murderous aura all over his body, and his eyes flashed with anger. I'm wrong. I'm sorry, I don't dare anymore. The bandits begged for mercy. Yi Tian threw out several golden chains from his hand. If you repent, tell the Buddha. My task is to send you to the Buddha. Yi Tian shook his hand. The golden rune chain cut several bandits in half. Oh, they surrendered, and you still killed people. Joker froze for a moment, then burst out laughing. Excited clapping hands. I took a picture of that scene just now. At that time, the whole world will know that the great hero Yi Tian brutally killed those who surrendered. Quote. Joker's eyes flickered with madness. You will be blamed by everyone. With Joker's maniacal laughter, dozens of gangsters surrounded him again. They have sticks in their hands. We surrender, if you have the ability to kill me. Count, come on, kill me. Yi Tian, you, as long as I don't do anything, you won't be able to arrest me. Doctor Strange's scalp tingled. Shameless. This is typical moral kidnapping. Being a good person is hard, being a hero is even harder. A little stain will be infinitely enlarged. Finally ruined. Yi Tian's popularity is very high now. Enviably tall. This sense of recognition, this honor, will make everyone ecstatic. Even if he knew it was a shackle, he didn't want to throw it away. Ha ha ha. The loud laughter sounded again. This time it's not Joker. But Yi Tian, when did I say I was a hero? I, Yi Tian, do things only to be worthy of my heart. Yi Tian said it word by word. The long knife in his hand swung out, and the light of the knife swept across. Dozens of gangsters were all chopped up in half. Blood flowed all over the place along with the intestines and viscera. There was disbelief and astonishment in the eyes of the gangsters. Yi Tian actually killed them without any hesitation. That splashy reputation is gone. You madman, you're going to lose everything. Welcome to the abuse, I will wait for you in hell. The light in the gangster's eyes gradually dimmed. Finally died completely. The whole street. Dead bodies littered the field. The strong smell of blood makes one's scalp tingle. Joker, so many lives, I will let you pay back one by one. Yi Tian raised his head, after being extremely angry. His eyes were calm instead. On the big screen, Joker stopped smiling. A stern look flashed across his face. You're crazy, no wonder little Harley's mentioning you in the arraignment. Yi Tian understood. Joker caused this chaos and killed so many people. It seems to be jealous. So, you were afraid that Harley Quinn would leave you. Yi Tian sneered, with disdain in his eyes. Joker seemed irritated. Clutching his forehead, he laughed maniacally, you're bound to lose. No one knows Harley's sweetheart better than me. I love her, and she can't leave me, she is even willing to die for me. Quote. Yeah, and in the end, how did you break up with Harley Quinn? You love her. Yi Tian sneered. That is not love, but your possessiveness and loneliness. Who would have thought that the famous Joker would be a lonely guy? You are alone, and will always be alone. Yi Tian's tone was cold. Shut up, you stupid, Joker cursed. A murderous intent flickered in his eyes. Yi Tian didn't talk nonsense, his body disappeared in place. He punched out with a bang. The air twisted, leaving no scum that knocked Joker down. No amount of conspiracy or trickery is of any use in the face of absolute strength. And at this moment, in a luxurious bar, there is a basement. In a puddle of viscous liquid, Joker crawled out. There was no madness in his eyes, only extremely cold eyes. He picked up the red wine beside him and took a sip. Then he threw the goblet in his hand to the ground. Red wine flows on the ground. Under the illumination of the light, it is crystal clear. Reflected as a crazy face. Interesting, interesting. Yi Tian, I discovered one of your secrets. In your body, there is another person. He's crazy, super crazy. Joker danced with his arms and legs, his mouth cracked very wide. With extreme weirdness. On the street, Yi Tian has been silent. There is no sound from the system and I relapse on my own. Joker is not dead. Why is that? Yi Tian frowned. Immediately thought of Dionysus factor. This also means that Joker is almost impossible to destroy. Doctor Strange's scalp was numb, and the oppressive atmosphere made him unable to breathe. That's a madman, don't pay attention to him. In the sky, Batman jumped off the suspended fighter plane. His eyes were full of shock, even a little unbelievable. In his opinion, his biggest opponent, Joker, just died like this. Make him a little unbelievable. I have found a trail of Caecilius. However, it was found at the high-speed rail station in Midway City. A high-speed train running there was destroyed. Batman was silent for a moment, then continued. Midway City was shrouded in a strange black mist 12 hours ago. All messages have been interrupted. Midway, the high-speed rail was destroyed. At this moment, the phone rang suddenly. Go to Midway City. Yi Tian snapped his fingers. Doctor Strange obediently opened a portal. Batman was surprised to see this scene. Sometimes magic is better than technology. In Midway City, a portal appeared, and the two of Yi Tian strolled out. Everything around them made them frown. Everywhere you look, there are ruins. The streets collapsed, and vehicles overturned on the road in all directions. Thick black smoke billowed from the building not far away. Through the collapsed floors, flames can be seen burning in the distance. There seemed to be a burning smell in the air. Not far from them, there is a temporary base. It was crowded with people, all of whom were surviving citizens. On the periphery, teams of soldiers are patrolling. All kinds of voices gathered together, and it was extremely noisy. Here, there seems to be an earthquake, Dr. Strange said in a deep voice. It should be the witch from Suicide Squad lost control. Yi Tian's old memories surged. Big events from the DC universe come to mind. Dr. Joan Mooney, a female archaeologist, was hit by a mistake. Unleashed a powerful witch, June Moore. A terrifying existence that has survived for more than 6,000 years, mastering terrifying magic. The witch took possession of Joan's body. Later, Amanda sent people to the cave and searched for the witch's heart. A key item that can control the life and death of a witch. Amanda thought she could control the power. Actually let the witch join the Suicide Squad. As long as Joan Mooney said the word witch, the soul of the witch June will gain control of her body. Her appearance will also change. From the original blonde, transform into a witch with black hair and green eyes. And this act of death also paid a price. During a mission, the witch lost control. She found the statue that sealed her brother the wizard. Eventually the wizard was freed. The two share one heart. Together, the two want to cover the earth with black magic. Dominate the world again. And, Yi Tian remembers, Joker was in order to rescue Harley Quinn. It seems that it will appear in this city. There was a killing intent in Yi Tian's eyes. Today, Caecilius is going to die. Joker, he has to try again to see if he can kill. At this time, several soldiers came over. Who are you? Yi Tian showed his FBI ID. The soldier nodded and put away his gun. At this moment, Yi Tian's phone rang suddenly. It's Phil Coulson calling. Yi Tian, a horrible incident happened in Midway City. Your vacation might be ruined. Yi Tian said unhappily. There is no one else in S.H.I.E.L.D. except me, right? A dry smile came from the other end of the phone. Those who are capable will do more work, ordinary people cannot intervene in such a large-scale disaster. I'm in Midway City right now. Yi Tian said. Great. Listen to Phil Coulson's passionate words. Yi Tian said angrily. I still have my own business, your task, leave it to others. Beep beep. The phone hangs up directly. His target is Caecilius. This group of traitors who have mastered the magic of the portal can go anywhere at will. If not, grab it quickly. Who knows when we'll get news again. Definitely, if you go along the way, you can kill the witch easily. Just then, an unfamiliar number called. Yi Tian hung up directly. Why didn't you answer? Dr. Strange asked. Yi Tian shrugged his shoulders. Scam calls, stranger calls, it's better not to answer. In a secret building, Amanda hung up on Phil Coulson with a look of excitement. Yi Tian is in Midway City, he is saved. The people in the conference room became excited when they heard this. At this moment, the oppressive atmosphere instantly dissipated. Everyone smiled in relief. Amanda dialed the phone with a look of surprise. Was hung up. Call again, still get hung up. The atmosphere in the meeting room was instantly awkward. After a while, a few non-commissioned officers came out of the temporary base. There was fanaticism in their eyes, as if they had seen an idol. He gave a military salute to Yi Tian. Sir, Amanda has instructions, please answer the phone. A person took out his mobile phone and handed it over respectfully. His palms trembled slightly, not scared, but excited. Finally met the legendary character. Let the veteran lose his composure uncontrollably. Yi Tian, now Midway City is facing huge amounts of crisis and needs your help. Amanda's voice was full of seriousness. Yi Tian said angrily. I can't help, I still have my own things to do. Amanda said anxiously. I can give you money. Or other requests. In this world, having a super ability does not mean being rich. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many villains. The normal operation of the world is made up of ordinary people. Even Superman has to abide by the rules. In this world, earning money is more difficult than obtaining super abilities. No need. Yi Tian directly refused. His system space, and a lot of gold. They were all given away. With a system, can you still be short of money? By the way, I have a message for you. When the Suicide Squad rescues you later, don't escape by helicopter. Within 1 kilometer, you will be shot down. Immediately, Yi Tian hung up the phone and blocked it directly. As for whether Amanda would fly into a rage, he didn't care. Yi Tian, many people here are injured, I will help them. Doctor Strange said. Yi Tian nodded. As a surgeon, it's better for Doctor Strange to stay here and save lives. Yi Tian's figure moved, and his whole body turned into a streamer, flying towards the Midway City. At this moment, in the dark street, Deadshot stood on the roof of the car, shooting wildly. In front of him, countless monsters with ugly faces swarmed. Harley Quinn swung a baseball bat and knocked a monster to the ground. Chewing gum. Hey, this group of monsters is really too much. It would be nice if Yi Tian was here. He's not as fast as my bullet. Deadshot laughed. It's been a long time since he's had such a good shot. Crab occasionally. Run, the boomerang exclaimed. In the distance, monsters swarmed like waves. Thick and dense, it makes people shudder. Retreat, retreat. Deadshot also yelled and jumped off the roof of the car. Oh, if Yi Tian is here, he will definitely not retreat. Harley Quinn blew out a big bubble. Big beauty, this is already the 10th time you mentioned Yi Tian within 5 minutes. Deadshot said angrily. If you don't run quickly, you will be torn apart by these monsters. Boomerang opened his mouth, revealing a gold tooth, and laughed. Harley Quinn shrugged. This is learned from Yi Tian. Walk behind the crowd with big white legs. Fact, the rear is also surrounded. Colonel Fredge cursed. He is Amanda's confidant and the leader of Suicide Squad. Likewise, he has an identity. The boyfriend of the female archaeologist whose body was possessed by a witch. It's over. The boomerang fell to the ground. Okay, let's say the last words. The fireman sat on the roof of the car, playing with a ray of flame in his hand. With so many monsters, even if he exploded with all his strength, he still couldn't destroy them. I don't want to die. Boomerang said angrily. Katana stroked the Japanese sword in his hand. Husband, I can come to accompany you. Her husband was killed by this knife and the soul was absorbed by Katana. Fark. Harley Quinn straightened her clothes. With a smile on his face, he asked the people around him, am I pretty? Big beautiful girl, you are the most beautiful woman I have ever seen. Deadshot praised without hesitation. Harley Quinn replied cheerfully, thank you for the compliment. You still think about beauty when you die, woman. The killer crocodile squatted on the ground. This group of villains, when facing death, behaved more calmly than ordinary people. If Yi Tian is here, we can be saved. Harley Quinn sat on the roof of the car, shaking her big white legs. Shut up, it annoys me when I hear that name. Boomerang said angrily. There are so many monsters, it's useless for him to come. At this time, a bright sword light appeared, slashed towards the group of monsters. Extremely thin knife marks, wherever they go, everything is cut in half. The running figures of tens of thousands of monsters stopped. A few seconds thick, the body splits in half. The upper body fell neatly to the ground. However, the sword light did not stop. He rushed straight to the tall buildings behind. Rumble. The tall building broke in two. The upper part fell to the ground. The ground shook violently. The dust that covered the sky was flying, and it spread towards the surroundings with a strong impact. I'm T-Fark. Deadshot opened his mouth wide. The Negro showed his only white teeth. It looked ridiculous. Craft. Harley Quinn's throat rolled. Swallow the gum again. Boomerang's scalp tingled. He turned to look at Katana. Suicide Squad, only this Japanese woman with a knife. Not me. Katana shook his head. Yi Tian, Yi Tian. Harley Quinn seemed to think of something. His eyes widened, and he shouted excitedly. Others are also looking around. In the sky, Deathshot exclaimed with sharp eyes. Everyone looked up, impressively saw Yi Tian floating in midair and slowly falling. Fact, he can fly. God, suffocating oppression. The people of Suicide Squad exclaimed one after another. Yi Tian, Harley Quinn shouted excitedly. He climbed onto the street lamp nimbly, and then jumped up. He hugged Yi Tian in midair. Yi Tian, you are here. Yi Tian didn't have time to answer. I can feel the fragrance. The lips are plugged with soft red lips. A few minutes later, Harley Quinn stuck out her tongue and licked her red lips. Hee hee, I kissed you. Am I the first one? I am special. Kissed. She should be eating strawberry-flavored gum, which tastes pretty good. Stop kissing, the monster is coming up. Deadshot yelled. Behind them, the monster has rushed up. Yi Tian took a deep breath and blew it out violently. The wind was mixed with extreme coldness. Superman's stunned, freezing breath. Wherever he went, everything was frozen into ice cubes. The blue frost spread and wrapped everything in it. Tens of thousands of monsters in the rear were frozen into ice sculptures. Half of the street turned into severe winter in an instant. The terrifying low temperature made everyone shudder. There was horror in their eyes. Harley Quinn hugged even tighter, with her big white legs wrapped around Yi Tian's waist. It seems like this can make it warmer. The Suicide Squad's eyes widened. Shortness of breath. Yi Tian's explosive strength was beyond their imagination and beyond their cognition. Destroyed tens of thousands of monsters with a single blow, and the remaining sword light cut off tall buildings directly. One breath freezes half the street. This is too exaggerated. Fake, this is the first time I feel like I'm a waste. The boomerang sucked in a breath. Deadshot gripped the gun tightly, as if it would give him a sense of security. Powerful, too powerful. The fireman shrank his neck. As the strongest existence of Suicide Squad, he can summon terrifying flames. However, he could feel it. Ice on the ground can freeze his flames. Even if it becomes a flame titan, the ending will not make any difference. In midair, Yi Tian fell slowly. He happened to pass by here. Saw Suicide Squad and helped out. Congratulations to the host for breaking the killing ring. Congratulations. Tens of thousands of system prompts sounded in succession. A large number of rewards appeared, quickly filling up the system space. Definitely, most of them are not very useful. Congratulations to the host for accumulatively breaking the precept for 10 times and getting a critical strike reward. Finally come. Yi Tian's eyes lit up. In the past few days after obtaining the system, I finally accumulated 10 relapses. I don't know what the reward will be. There was excitement in Yi Tian's eyes. Reward 1. Power doubled. Reward 2. Endurance doubled. Reward 3. Immune to kryptonite. The host please choose one of them. Reward 1. Reward 2. It can make his strength skyrocket. And become an existence beyond Superman. Belonging to the icing on the cake. Reward 3 is to make up for his only shortcoming. It belongs to sending charcoal in a timely manner. Children make choices, I want them all. Yi Tian gritted his back molars. Reward 3. His strength is at the top of the current Earth. And with the passage of time, it is gradually strengthening. With the sun these days, Kryptonian bloodlines are also constantly integrating. He had a premonition that today or tomorrow, he would be able to awakening heat vision. Superman's signature skill. There is no shortage of smart people in this world. It will soon link Yi Tian and Superman, especially Batman, but has a whole set of methods to sanction Superman. Today, Yi Tian does not have the fatal flaw of kryptonite. The strength has not increased, but the heart has settled down a lot. Yi Tian smiled lightly. He fell to the ground with his arms around Harley Quinn's waist. I just heard that someone gets annoyed when they hear my name. Yi Tian said with a half smile. The body of the boomerang tensed up suddenly, and a drop of cold sweat fell from his forehead. This villain who robs banks and commits all kinds of crimes feels fear for the first time. The surrounding teammates all took a step back silently, looking down at the ground. Even the killer crocodile with a bad head is the same. Haha, Boomerang, why don't you talk anymore? Harley Quinn covered her mouth and said proudly. Fredge bit the bullet and said, Yi Tian, we are all companions now. Although he was a colonel, he also reprimanded the members of the Suicide Squad loudly. However, facing Yi Tian, he didn't even dare to show his breath. The terrifying destructive power made him feel fear. These monsters are human beings. The fireman walked over and pulled out a certificate from a corpse. By the way, off topic. As soon as these words came out, everyone fell silent. These monsters turned out to be humans. Looking at the tens of thousands of corpses again, I felt different in my heart. Still, these guys are supervillains. Not a trace of sadness was shown. I'm leaving, you guys continue on your way. Yi Tian was silent for a moment. Ready to leave. The first priority now is to find Caecilius. As for the witch, he will also take action to solve it. To avenge these tens of thousands of people. Harley Quinn grabbed Yi Tian's clothes. Teary, take me with you. Yi Tian touched Harley Quinn's blonde hair, it was very soft. Inside, Though, he sensed nanobombs. Deactivate the nanobomb in her head. Yi Tian spoke. Harley Quinn was one of the few people who stayed in the hospital when he was hospitalized. This friendship, he remembered. Even in the eyes of others, Harley Quinn is crazy and mentally ill. Yi Tian didn't care. No matter how bad this person is, just treat him well. He will treat it with sincerity. Frej bit the bullet and said, just about to explain. I heard Amanda's voice in the headset. Let Yi Tian answer the phone and tell him that I have information about the group of people he is looking for. He has been in communication with Amanda. Frej nodded. Yi Tian agent, Chief Amanda asked me to tell you that she has news about the group of people you were looking for. Yi Tian took out his mobile phone, just in time for a strange call. I just contacted S.H.I.E.L.D., the group of people you want to find, with the witch. Amanda's voice was very urgent, for fear that Yi Tian would hang up again. It was the first time she called so eagerly after becoming a high-ranking member of the Beacon Country. But now is not the time to worry about this. The building she was in was already surrounded by monsters transformed by witches. It could be breached every minute. When the time comes, the witch who hates her to the bone. Amanda's ending will be extremely miserable. Yi Tian, I deactivated Harley Quinn's bomb, and I owe you a favor. On the other end of the phone, Amanda said anxiously. Yi Tian looked at the map. Find where the Suicide Squad is going, and where the witch is, showing a straight line. Instead, I can go to save Amanda. Most importantly, Yi Tian remembered. Joker will rob a helicopter. Appears on top of the building where Amanda is. Then save Harley Quinn. However, this time, Yi Tian decided to let Joker die here. Facing this lunatic who slaughtered an entire street just to provoke himself. Yi Tian will never hold back. Okay, then just wait patiently. Yi Tian hung up the phone. Harley Quinn hugged Yi Tian's arm excitedly. Are you going with us? So much fun. She doesn't know yet. Yi Tian's goal was to kill her boyfriend. Harley Quinn took out the gum. Yi Tian knocked her on the head. Eating too much chewing gum is not good for your health. With that said, he took out a lollipop from the system space. Harley Quinn froze for a moment. My heart is warm. With Joker, there's nothing but madness. But never had this kind of care. Harley Quinn looked at Yi Tian with beautiful eyes, her eyes were almost drawn. Deadshot and Boomerang lead the way. Yi Tian has his hands behind his back. Walking in the courtyard is like walking in your own garden. Scattered monsters are not worth his shot. Chapter 51. Harley Quinn is like a bird. Jumping around, talking excitedly. The nanobomb in her head was disarmed. And all of this is due to the man in front of him. The rest of Deadshot, Boomerang and others looked at Harley Quinn enviously. If it wasn't for the male body, they would all want to hook up with Yi Tian. And now, in the dark, Joker trembled all over. Under the green hair, a pair of eyes fixed on Yi Tian and Harley Quinn. Full of hatred. Hoo-hoo, this fool, just got hooked up and left. Joker stuck out his tongue and licked the dagger. From the tip of the tongue, red blood seeped out. However, that wound healed instantly. With the Dionysian factor, no one can kill me. Yi Tian, your method reminds me of Superman. I will prepare a big gift for you. A group of people came to the building without any risk. Harley Quinn glanced at the phone. It's Joker's text message. Joker's text message, Yi Tian asked. What do you think of this man? Harley Quinn nodded. It's crazy, it's charming. It can make people feel excited. Yi Tian shrugged his shoulders. It's like drugs. Joker is indeed very charismatic. When watching movies in his last life, he also regarded the crazy Joker as an idol. That suffocating madness. It seems that everyone can see themselves. However, when he stood in Gotham City, watching because of Joker's whim, hundreds of thousands of people died just for the sake of provocation. In his heart, besides anger, he was still angry. The scene of corpses strewn across the streets was something he could never forget for a long time. To die is to die. Nothing, no matter how much effort you have made, it will be gone in smoke. Their families will also live in pain forever. Are you going after me? Care about me so much? Harley Quinn blinked triumphantly. Yi Tian smiled lightly. I hope we won't become enemies. Harley Quinn froze for a moment. From Yi Tian's face, she saw unprecedented seriousness. Hey, what are you kidding? I don't want to be your enemy. Harley Quinn was walking with a lollipop, shaking her head. Yi Tian didn't speak. Soon, a group of people came to the top floor. The wall cracked and a hidden alloy door opened. There are several staff members in the room. I have someone to rescue us. God, we're saved. Several staff cheered. Amanda pulled out a pistol and pointed it at the staff. I advise you not to do anything, Yi Tian said. This woman is really cruel. In order to cover up their mistakes, he actually wanted to kill all the subordinates who knew about it. Amanda's expression changed. After hesitation for a while, he still put away the pistol. She couldn't figure out Yi Tian's character, but she understands a little bit. The moment he shoots himself, Yi Tian's knife will also chop out. Give me the rest of the news. Yi Tian stretched out his hand. Amanda nodded and pulled out a confidential document. Caecilius and the witch seemed to have reached some kind of agreement. Amanda said, "Take out the file." Yi Tian flipped through it. Without the slightest hesitation. "Let's go, I'll capture Caecilius, and help you clean up the witches by the way." Everyone, in their view, a witch with black magic is extremely powerful. However, in Yi Tian's eyes, just like ants on the side of the road, they can be easily crushed to death. The key is that they still feel reasonable. Oh shit. There is a huge gap between people. In this operation, the risk factor has plummeted, Deadshot said. Killer Crocodile also grinned. After the operation is over, I will sleep in the sewer for a day. Amanda said in a deep voice. We still have to be careful, the witch's strength is very scary. Don't be afraid, we have Yi Tian, don't be afraid. Harley Quinn raised her eyebrows. Passed over the lollipop covered in saliva. Do you want to eat? If it was usual, Amanda would definitely reprimand her. But seeing Harley Quinn almost clinging to Yi Tian, she chooses to keep her mouth shut. Soon, a group of people came to the roof. Rumble. In the distance, a military assembled helicopter flew over. Meanwhile, Harley Quinn also receives a message from Joker. She raised her head and looked towards the helicopter. Hidden, Yi Tian said, with a murderous intent flashing across his face. Joker is here. Amanda froze for a moment. Death-shot pupils constricted. His excellent eyesight allowed him to see the helicopter's muzzle aiming at everyone in the dark night. The helicopter has been intercepted. Hide, Deadshot yelled. Everyone panicked and took cover. Da da da. Gunshots rang out. The two muzzles of the helicopter are constantly rotating, firing bullets continuously. Clang, clang. Yi Tian neither hides nor evades. Let the bullets hit you. Yi Tian, get out of the way. Harley Quinn shouted. Fred shouted urgently. Yi Tian has been shot, find a way to rescue him. Deadshot gripped his submachine gun tightly. The two looked at each other, and one rolled and rushed out. However, to their surprise, Yi Tian stood on the spot intact. The clothes were full of bullet holes, but there was no scar on the body. Perverted defense. It's okay to see Yi Tian. The two didn't have the slightest hesitation, and quickly hid again. Yi Tian, we meet again, Joker said grimly. Immediately, he blew a whistle. Little sweetheart, let's go. Harley Quinn clapped her hands and came out with a catwalk. The hot buttocks swayed gracefully. Harley Quinn, what are you doing? Amanda snapped. Goodbye, my teammates. Bye, big black girl. The last sentence made Amanda very angry. Are you leaving? Yi Tian asked suddenly. Harley Quinn's footsteps paused. His eyes lit up. Yi Tian, are you trying to keep me? Harley, what are you doing? Come here. Joker spoke again. His eyes were cold, flashes of madness. He holds out his hand. Come here, sweetheart. For Joker, Harley Quinn is like his plaything. Crazy and beautiful, willing to die for him. A masterpiece made by him. He is more possessive of Harley Quinn. On the roof, the propellers were spinning extremely fast. There were gusts of wind. Jack, do you love me? Or is it because of possessiveness? Harley Quinn's twin horses were shaking in the wind. Her eyes were rarely serious. Joker didn't answer. He felt insulted. His Harley Quinn, the heart no longer belongs entirely to him. A crazy thought flashed through Joker's twisted heart. Yi Tian stepped forward with a half smile. Loudly said. Joker, did your pride take a hit? I said before, you are a person, and you will only be a person in the future. Yi Tian, Veins popped out of Joker's forehead. There was a mad killing intent in his eyes. Usually he plays with other people's hearts. Today, he was played by Yi Tian. He lost, and lost in the place he was most proud of. He looked into Harley Quinn's eyes, full of coldness. There is no need for imperfect works to exist. It should end in the most tragic and tragic way. There was a gloomy look in Harley Quinn's eyes. She smiled at Joker. I'm a pretty good piece. Right, Joker's voice is hoarse. It used to be. Finish this sentence. Joker jerked the trigger. Da da da. The bullets whizzed out, with huge amounts of penetration, covering Harley Quinn. Since it is no longer perfect, destroy it. Sweetie, this is my last gift to you. Deadshot's scalp is numb, and he is also a supervillain. He couldn't understand Joker's thinking at all. Clearly at risk, to save Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn just asked if he loved her. Joker is about to shoot and kill. Fact, he's crazy. Fireman frowned and judged. Joker never loved Harley Quinn. Yi Tian waved his hand. Block the bullets fired at Harley Quinn. Don't be sad, it's a kind of luck to leave someone who doesn't love you. Yi Tian shrugged his shoulders. Even without him, Joker would also dump Harley Quinn. A deranged lunatic. How can I always be obsessed with a work? Only when I'm bored, I turn it out and read it. Then tell the world. You see, how perfect is my work. This beautiful and crazy Harley Quinn. It's me, Joker Jack, the greatest work ever. You should remember my name. Yi Tian, I'll give you a gift too. Joker smiled and snapped his fingers. The bullet that hit the ground originally. Green smoke suddenly spewed out. Cough cough cough. Is this poisonous gas? No, we were not harmed. The people of Suicide Squad spoke one after another. They are a little puzzled. Joker shouldn't do such pointless things. Amanda's face changed. This is kryptonite. Ha ha ha. Joker laughed on the helicopter. The expression is distorted and crazy. Yi Tian, I didn't expect that. I discovered your secret. Joker shields his face with his hands. On his hand, there is a huge amounts of mouth tattooed. Ferocious and evil. Yi Tian, your biggest secret is that you are a Kryptonian. There was madness in Joker's eyes. This is the kryptonite I found specially. More than that, I also told the whole world about your secret. At that time, you will welcome a steady stream of enemies. Ha ha ha, but they have no chance. Because today, I will kill you first. Quote. Joker pulls out a pistol. Leisurely took out the bullet made of pure kryptonite and filled it. Yi Tian, you lost. Boom. Bullets fired. The kryptonite bullet was very fast, pulling out a green afterimage. Amanda gasped. My heart was full of surprise and anxiety. Surprisingly, Yi Tian turned out to be a Kryptonian. No wonder it's so powerful. Anxiously, with Yi Tian dead, no one can kill the witch. And, lost such an excellent agent. Fury was sure to make trouble for her. Yi Tian, Harley Quinn yelled. He wanted to block the bullet, but it was too late. He's finished, Killer Crocodile said in a loud voice. Yi Tian is an excellent person, only a little worse than my husband, but unfortunately, he is going to die. Katana caresses Katana in his hand. The mood is slightly sad. In her opinion, the dead husband was the best man in the world. Boom, the kryptonite bullet hit Yi Tian's chest heavily. Green light blooms. No, there was sadness in Harley Quinn's voice. However, in the next second, she swears directly. I'm Tifark. Like her, the rest were stunned. Yi Tian patted his chest, knocking off the kryptonite powder. Joker's ferocious smile froze on his face. This crazy Joker, for the first time, looks funny. Impossible, impossible. Joker panicked and stuffed a few kryptonite bullets, and fired again. The kryptonite bullet hit Yi Tian's body and shattered directly. Okay, it's my turn to make a move. Yi Tian's eyes became sharp. Clang. The long knife in his hand was out of its sheath. On the body of the knife, a golden flame burned. As the flame rises, you can see the runes flowing in it. Boom. Swing out a knife. A very thin knife glow pierced the space and slashed at Joker. Joker lowered his head in astonishment, looking at the body that was split in two. At the wound, a special liquid flowed to heal his injury. Boom. The flames burn. Quickly engulfs the Joker. This time, Yi Tian used magic. A second later, where the Joker had been standing, only a pile of ashes remained. Joker is dead. Deadshot, their eyes widened. As super criminals, they definitely know how scary Joker is. This Joker, who is known as the Underground King of Gotham City, has given Batman a headache. It's dead. Die so simply. Joker, there was sadness in Harley Quinn's eyes. The delicate body trembled slightly. He's not dead. Yi Tian frowned. After waiting for a long time, he did not receive the system prompt. This proves that Joker is still alive. How is it possible? I see him burnt to ashes. I can't die anymore. Members of the Suicide Squad speak. Amanda seemed to think of something. He glanced at Yi Tian. Liquor. Before she finished speaking, she saw Yi Tian nodded. Amanda's face turned ugly. Frightened eyes flickered. Joker gets the Dionysian factor. An unkillable horror villain. This is extremely terrifying for the entire world. The most important thing is that this villain is Joker, a crazy and insane guy. What wine? Boomerang asked suspiciously. The rest of the Suicide Squad shook their heads. You heard me wrong. But what happened to Amanda? Her face is as ugly as eating shit. Is my aunt here? At her age, she should be amenorrhea. Several people sneaked around and discussed in low voices. A vein popped out of Amanda's forehead. She pulled out the controller for the nanobomb. Do you want to die? Deadshot, they shut up instantly. And at the moment, in a cave in Gotham City, a person slowly crawled out of a pool of thick liquid. As the liquid drips gradually, showing green hair. Joker gasped. There was endless killing intent in his eyes. For the first time, he was defeated in all directions. Also, it's the first time being robbed of his works. Yi Tian, I will definitely kill you, I will definitely. The roof of Midway City. The wind howled. There was an uproar among Amanda and the others. They were extremely shocked. At first, they also believed Joker's words. Think Yi Tian is a Kryptonian. But when Yi Tian crushed the kryptonite bullet casually, their conjectures vanished into thin air. Immediately afterwards, their scalps tingled for a while. Everyone knows how powerful Superman is. But kryptonite's weakness. It proves one thing. Superman can only be feared by enemies. And Yi Tian, who seems to be equally strong, does not have any weaknesses. Yi Tian, make the enemy despair. At this moment, a helicopter came again in the distance. Sir Amanda, we are here to pick you up. On the plane, 2 agent soldiers came over. The people of Suicide Squad stared. What the hell? Let's stop the witch, you have to run alone. Also shameless. Colonel Fredge will be fully responsible for the rest of the matter. Amanda said in a deep voice. You protect him well, if there is an accident. Amanda pulls out the controller. I'm going to blow your heads off. Hey, I don't have a nanobomb in my head. Harley Quinn cheered. The rest of the Suicide Squad rolled their eyes. Amanda steps into the helicopter. Suddenly, she saw Yi Tian, who was smiling but not smiling. That sentence came back to mind again. Could it be that, if you take a helicopter, will you really be shot down? Amanda's heart tightened. Sir, what's the matter? We're leaving now. Midway is dangerous. 2 special forces spoke. Amanda was silent for a moment and slowly backed away. Finally stood beside Yi Tian. If Midway City is really dangerous, by Yi Tian's side, it is the safest. The plan has changed, so I won't go back. Amanda said. The helicopter departs. 30 seconds later, a bright flame exploded in the sky. Like a huge amounts of firework. The helicopter was badly damaged and its propeller broke off. Then fell heavily to the ground. Sweat dripped from the top of Amanda's head, and she looked at Yi Tian in disbelief. This man. Can predict the future. Thinking of this, her scalp tingled. Fredge came over. Sir Amanda, what are the arrangements for the future? His tone was a little anxious. As time passed, the black mist gradually covered the entire Midway City, and continued to spread towards the surroundings. Moreover, witches will become more and more powerful. His girlfriend's consciousness will gradually be wiped out. Yi Tian is in charge of the rest. Amanda said. Fredge raised his eyebrows, almost unable to control his emotions. He knew Amanda very well. Do whatever it takes to achieve your goals. While being ruthless, he also has an extreme desire to control. Such a person, he was willing to hand over control of the team. He turned his head to look at Yi Tian. He didn't know much about the latter. The deepest impression is also that the latter wiped out tens of thousands of monsters at will. Is such a person suitable to lead a team? After all, strength is not equal to strategic deployment. What to do next? Deadshot walked over with a gun in hand. Yi Tian stretched out his finger. Go to the place where the witch is and kill her directly. Everyone, don't you have any deployment and combat plans? Fredge couldn't help but ask. What he feared most had happened. The people who lead the team don't have enough military literacy. To a fool, to the west of Midway City is an old city. There is an abandoned subway below. We can go around there. Fredge spread out the map. As a colonel, it is almost his instinct to carry out a detailed battle plan. Why do you have to go around? Yi Tian was puzzled. Fredge rubbed the center of his brows, suppressing the anger in his heart. If someone asked him such a stupid question, he might just yell. But facing Yi Tian, he didn't dare. This way you can avoid monsters and reduce danger. Yi Tian looked at Fredge with a strange face. Amanda, your subordinate, you are not very smart. How did you get the position of colonel? Quote, Fredge felt insulted. Veins popping out of his forehead. Fake, the plan is to execute the mission more safely. Sir Amanda, I dismiss your opinion. I admit that Yi Tian is strong, but he is not suitable to be the leader of the opponent. Today, you are the one who killed me, and I don't agree with you leading us. Fredge finished speaking hastily. The last sentence was for Yi Tian. His eyes were full of determination. Even if you die, don't take a step back. However, Yi Tian just walked past him blankly. The rest of the people also looked at him strangely. Fredge frowned. Deadshot came over. With Yi Tian here, those monsters can be destroyed with one hand. In the face of absolute strength, machinations are a waste of time. Push it directly, which saves the most time. Killer Crocodile walked over shaking his head. Waste time. Fredge blushed suddenly. The impassioned words just now. It became a full social death. At this moment, if it is not the quality of the soldiers. He even wanted to leave Midway City. Find a place where no one will know and spend the rest of your life. Cough. Fredge coughed and followed the team. Harley Quinn laughed. Your battle plan is great. I like it. Shet. Fredge blushed again. A group of people rushed towards the city center. And at this moment, in the center of Midway City, the witch opened her hands, and countless black aura surrounded her. An overwhelming black mist spewed out. Then pour it into the formation above the head. Under the blessing of the necromancer formation, the black mist spread wildly towards the surroundings. Not far from her was a group of people in black monk robes. Fingertips and eye sockets are rotten black. It seemed to be corroded by some kind of weird energy. Under their feet, there is a formation. It is composed of countless golden silk threads. It's so complicated that you'll feel dizzy just by looking at it. Caecilius, your dear junior brother is here. The witch twisted her body and said charmingly. Caecilius smiled, a icy coldness in his eyes. Don't worry, he left it to us. This formation is specially prepared for him. Caecilius had a malicious look in his eyes. He hated Yi Tian. Hate Ancient One's preference for Yi Tian. The witch looked into the distance. Here they come. The voice just fell. Yi Tian led the suicide squad, coming from a distance. Junior brother Yi Tian, long time no see. Caecilius said with a grim expression on his face. He hates Yi Tian, also very Ancient One. His magic ability is high. And Ancient One, always reluctant to impart his more powerful magic. Instead, Yi Tian was accepted as the only personal disciple. He is angry and resentful. When he discovered the secret of Ancient One, his whole body collapsed. Ancient One actually had a deal with Dormammu. Borrow the power of this terrifying dimension Mephisto and stay alive. From then on, he also communicated with Dormammu. And got his wish to get a powerful magic power. Yi Tian, Ancient One is willing to let you down the mountain. I don't know if Ancient One will feel sorry for us killing you. The rest of the people also spoke viciously. Once upon a time, they were also Yi Tian's apprentice brothers. Now, they are Dormammu's lackeys. Yi Tian glanced over several people with cold eyes. You people who have fallen into darkness are not worthy of mentioning the name of the master. He traveled back then and became a baby. Abandoned in snow mountains. That coldness, he will never forget it for the rest of his life. As a baby, he couldn't move. At this time, Ancient One appeared and took him in. Raise him and accept him as a personal disciple. Therefore, Yi Tian does not allow anyone to insult Ancient One. Caecilius laughed out loud. There was extreme irony in his eyes. Yi Tian, you are really a good apprentice. Well, let me tell you something, that old thing, Ancient One, also fell into the darkness, greedily absorbing Lord Dormammu's power. Quote. Caecilius fixed his eyes on Yi Tian. He wanted to see Yi Tian's madness. However, he is bound to be disappointed. Yi Tian looked flat. There are no ups and downs. Ancient One absorbs dark energy, not for power, but to better protect the Earth. If it weren't for Ancient One, the Earth would have been occupied by horrible creatures from all dimensions. Caecilius, your inner ugliness. Disgusting. Yi Tian snorted coldly, and lightly placed his fingers on the handle of the knife. Fact, aren't you ugly? Caecilius growled. You are different from us, you are a direct disciple of Ancient One, and you are even a tantric monk. But after you came down from the mountain, you repeatedly broke the precept and killed people. Quote. Dare you say that you are not ugly inside? Caecilius roared frantically. What he hates the most is that Yi Tian always looks calm and breezy. You are not the same as Yi Tian, Harley Quinn retorted with a pout. You are not only ugly on the inside, but also ugly on the outside. This big beautiful girl has a poisonous tongue as always. I don't want to be a monk. Yi Tian said. Caecilius' eyes flickered with madness. Yi Tian, this is beyond your control. You are a born monk, and no one can change this. Ancient One can't change it, and neither can you. Born monk. Yi Tian frowned. Ancient One said so, and the system said so. Now even Caecilius says the same. It seems that his identity is very different. Is there anything else you want to say? No, just die, Yi Tian said in a deep voice. Caecilius sneered, full of disdain. Yi Tian, today, I will let my senior brother see how you are doing in magic. Immediately, he formed seals with both hands. Beside him, many magicians also began to form seals. Muttering a mantra in his mouth, a strange and unpredictable black aura appeared. The golden formation became pitch black. At this moment, the surrounding space became icy cold. This breath is different from the witch's black magic. As if overriding everything, just a trace of it exudes terrifying energy. The Suicide Squad's eyes blurred. In their minds, there was a voice roaring crazily. Surrender to the darkness, and you will gain great power. At the same time, their consciousness began to blur. The scene in front of me changed. They each fell into their own hallucinations. Yi Tian, come on, embrace the darkness, you can gain even more powerful power. Caecilius' voice was full of charm. He raised his hand, black aura around. It exudes terrifying fluctuations. What a noble energy, no one can refuse him. Caecilius had a look of fascination on his face. Yi Tian, Lord Dormammu appreciates you very much. Kneel on the ground and surrender, and you will gain great power. Quote. Yi Tian's expression didn't change in any way. The mind is not affected in the slightest. Dormammu's strength could not seduce him yet. The system is in hand, just give him enough time. Dimension Mephisto Dormammu, too, is nothing but an ant. One punch. You can resist the temptation of Master Dormammu. Caecilius looked gloomy. Yi Tian's self-control was beyond his imagination. It made him feel ashamed. Caecilius does not allow Yi Tian to be stronger than him. Impossible, impossible, even Ancient One cannot resist the temptation of this force. How could you not respond? Quote. Veins popped out of Caecilius' forehead. Make a trick with both hands. Terrifying dark energy spewed out. Condensed into a huge amounts of eyeball, staring at Yi Tian firmly. The atmosphere of tyranny and chaos exudes. This is the power from Dormammu. Enough to destroy everything. Yi Tian didn't talk nonsense at all. The arm muscles swelled, the fists were clenched, and the golden runes were condensed on it. The powerful force distorts the entire space. One punch out. The air twists. The sonic boom sounded like thunder, shaking all around. Rumble. Dazzling golden light blooms. Huge amounts of pupils disappear. Click. Cracks appeared in the array. Caecilius spat out a mouthful of blood. The rest of the magicians were even more unbearable. Straight to the ground. Impossible, how can you be so powerful? Caecilius shouted in disbelief. The eyes are full of madness. The power he bought with his soul was unexpectedly punched by Yi Tian. Is it the power that Ancient One gave you? It must be him, he is still so partial. Caecilius' face was gloomy, his eyes dark, cursing constantly from the mouth. Yi Tian didn't want to explain, and said with cold eyes, "Go to hell." Caecilius lay on the ground, hitting the ground unwillingly with his fist. Yi Tian punched out. The formation suddenly shattered. Several magicians were directly shocked to death. Caecilius lay on the ground in a state of embarrassment. Blood dripped down the corner of his mouth. Caecilius propped himself up on his hands and sat up slowly. Let the sticky black and red blood stain the top of the skirt. He looked ferocious, and yelled frantically, "Yi Tian, do you really think you're lucky? Ancient One is using you. Ha ha, you idiot must be worse than me. But, as long as you don't kill me, I will tell you this secret." There was a strong desire to survive in his eyes. No one wants to die. Ants still steal their lives. How can a person who is obsessed with power be willing to die? Yi Tian was silent for a moment. Shake your head slowly. Not interested in. Caecilius' expression changed. Palm prints. A portal suddenly appeared. Yi Tian snorted coldly and let out a sharp breath. The icy cold air spewed out. It seems to be able to freeze everything. Caecilius yelled in horror, watching his body freeze. Yi Tian raised his hand, just about to bring Caecilius into the system space. At this time, the space ahead is warped. A figure appeared. Wearing a yellow monk robe, his figure looks thin. With a hood on his head, covering most of his face in shadow, he couldn't see clearly. Master. Yi Tian bowed slightly. The person who came was Ancient One. Her body is suspended in midair, between reality and reality. The surrounding wind howled, but her yellow monk robe did not have any waves. As if in another space. People around looked at Yi Tian suspiciously. In their line of sight, there is no Ancient One to be seen. Yi Tian, give Caecilius to me. Ancient One's voice was calm, without any waves. But the eyes looking at Yi Tian are full of kindness and appreciation. Okay. Yi Tian didn't have the slightest hesitation. Ancient One nodded, and with a wave of his sleeve, Caecilius disappeared with the ice cubes. After a long silence, Ancient One opened his mouth slightly. Do you have any questions? Yi Tian shook his head. Ancient One raised him carefully and taught him everything. In the 18 years of getting along, that kind of concern is real. There is no falsehood. He would not doubt the Ancient One just because of Caecilius' words. In a month, go to Kamar Taj. Ancient One gradually disappeared. At that time, I will give you the Eye of Agamotto. By the way, I will tell you something. Yi Tian's heart tightened. Could it be that there is really a secret about his life experience? After a long silence, Yi Tian nodded. Yi Tian, who are you talking to? Harley Quinn's beautiful eyes were full of doubts. Yi Tian shook his head. Nothing. Immediately, his eyes fell on the witch. The latter was dressed in cool clothes, with a large area of white skin exposed. Surrender, spare your life. Yi Tian's voice was cold. The witch's delicate body twisted, her winking eyes were like silk. Yi Tian, you are powerful. How about working with me to rule this planet together? The witch slowly raised her palm and danced her fingers lightly. The scene before everyone's eyes changed. Everyone stood there blankly. Falling into hallucinations, I saw the world I most desire in my heart. Deathshot raised his hand slightly. In his vision, the bat died at his gunpoint. The fireman dreamed about his family. Once, when he was angry, he lost control of his superpower. Killed his wife and children with his own hands. And now, his wife is nestled in his arms vividly. Harley Quinn dreamed of getting married. Warm sunlight streams in through the windows. She has blonde curly hair and holds a child in her arms. On the table, there is a photo. Inside are wedding photos. The man is Yi Tian. And Yi Tian also fell into a strange witchcraft. Witches have survived for more than 6,000 years. From the beginning of human civilization, black magic and witchcraft have been mastered. With a weird ability, it's hard to guard against. Now, in front of Yi Tian was a pitch-black world. There is no time and no space here. You are here, is the time up yet? A muffled voice sounded. A person slowly came out of the darkness. Wearing gray clothes. What surprised Yi Tian the most was that the other party's eyes revealed a kind of loneliness and silence of, I have lived for thousands of years. What time is it? Yi Tian didn't understand what the other party was talking about. You haven't recovered your memory yet, the gray-robed man said. Yi Tian became more and more confused. What memory? Please explain clearly. Don't trust anyone. The fog on the face of the gray-robed man dissipated. His face was exactly the same as Yi Tian's. The only difference is that those pupils are actually golden. There seemed to be a fire burning inside. Pure and brilliant. Be able to assert all your attention. Yi Tian felt dizzy for a while. Consciousness began to blur. The person in front of him was still talking. But he couldn't hear anything. Yi Tian slapped his ears, but all he heard was a blind tone. He struggled to open his eyes wide. Stare hard at each other's mouth shape. Seemed to be saying, go out, time is up, come to exchange. Exchange for what? Yi Tian's brain was torn apart in pain. I admit, I have a gamble. I was very nervous, I didn't know if I would be sprayed like this. At this moment, the suicide squad is rushing towards the witch. The killer crocodile top lane acts as a meat shield. Deadshot ADC stable output. The fireman's mid-laner magician, dragging the flames with his hands. Katana has a sensitive figure, and the katana in his hand is as fast as lightning, like an assassin. Harley Quinn wields a baseball bat and definitely assists. Amanda said coldly. Suicide Squad, kill her for me. Shut up, you. The witch made a sharp voice. A pair of eyes fixed on Amanda. It's full of twisted venom. As the sun goes down, the magic is strong. He who possesses magic is destined to change the world. Deadshot pointed at the witch and cursed. Ma'am, you are a devil. The witch took a deep breath, her tall chest rising and falling. Turning his head slightly, he said to the back. Brother, let them bend over me. Boom, boom, the surrounding ground shook constantly. A 3-foot-tall figure walked over. Under the black metal armor is a golden energy flow. Every step he takes is weighty. The surrounding ground trembled. The terrifying coercion made it hard to breathe. I'm Tefik, what the hell is that? Boomerang opened his mouth wide in surprise, a golden tooth gleaming. Deadshot clenched the gun in his hand. This eases his tension. In ancient times, humans called us gods. You lowly humans are just ants. How dare you challenge the gods? Under the blessing of black magic, the witch's voice resounded throughout the square. She has survived for more than 6,000 years and has ruled mankind for thousands of years. In the end, she was sealed by the wise men of mankind. When she woke up again, the world was completely changed. A former human servant became the master of the world. It also uses technology to create machines. The world must return to chaos, only magic can last forever. The witch raised her hand. The 10-meter-tall body of the wizard is like a mountain. Rushed towards the suicide squad. The eyes under Katana's mask instantly became sharp. The katana in his hand was cut out. The wizard's arm snapped off. However, in the next second, his palm grew back. Boom! Katana was punched flying, straight into a wall. He fell heavily to the ground and passed out. Deadshot holds guns in both hands and shoots like crazy. The killer crocodile roared and charged forward. But he saw that the wizard's arm suddenly became longer, like a whip. Take the two of them away. The fireman who had never made a move stood up. The witch used witchcraft to bring back his painful memories. Under the strong anger, the flame in his body was burning. Boom! Surging flames spurted out. The scorching air waves distorted the surrounding air. The wizard let out a roar. Kick the flying fireman directly. At this time, a majestic roar sounded. Terrible flames gushed out of the fireman. The figure gradually grew larger. In the blink of an eye, it turned into a flame titan as tall as a wizard. Occasionally crab. The fireman is such a dick. Fact, what a terrifying ability. Several people in Suicide Squad retreated one after another. The scorching temperature and air waves made their faces ache from the scorching. Two terrifying titans, like ancient gods. Every punch made the air tremble. The wizard growled. The golden energy body under the black armor suddenly brightened. Huonan was tightly suppressed, and his figure began to shrink slowly. No one can defeat us. The witch yelled frantically. There was contempt in his eyes. Wait until I cover the whole world with black magic. I will be the overlord again. The situation took a sudden turn for the worse. Amanda couldn't help taking 2 steps back. What's going on? We are all sober, why is Yi Tian still immersed in the illusion? What she meant was translated. We weak chickens can all wake up. Such a powerful person as Yi Tian has been addicted to illusion for so long. Fred shook his head, expressing his lack of clarity. Yi Tian, wake up, Yi Tian, what's wrong with you? In the environment, Yi Tian vaguely heard Harley Quinn's anxious cry. And the sound is getting louder. Yi Tian woke up suddenly, and the whole person broke away from the environment. Yi Tian, you finally woke up. Harley Quinn made a joyful voice. Amanda let out a long breath, calming down the tension in her heart. Yi Tian finally woke up. A smile appeared on Boomerang's face. Deathshot's tense body relaxed. At this moment, the fear and pressure in their hearts disappeared instantly. Witch, I'll give you another chance to surrender. Yi Tian said in a deep voice. The witch laughed. I'm not Caecilius kind of trash. It has survived for more than 6,000 years. She and the wizard's black magic, paired with mysterious witchcraft, make them powerful. Coupled with the magic power accumulated for thousands of years, they are not afraid of anyone. Brother, kill Yi Tian. The wizard grabbed the fireman's arm. He fell hard to the ground. After doing all this, the wizard ran towards Yi Tian in a big stride. The huge body like a hill rushed over. The terrifying speed produced a sonic boom. Unparalleled pressure swept all around. On the thick arm, black magic is shining. The terrifying punch twisted the air in his body. The surging fist wind, like a sea tide, rushed over. Yi Tian has no expression on his face. Mount Tai collapsed in front of him without changing his face. Pressing the finger on the handle of the knife, he flicked it. Clang! There was a crisp knife sound. The extremely thin knife light flashed away. The wizard froze suddenly. Under the action of inertia, he took 2 more steps. A beast-like hoarse sound came out of the wizard's throat. A few seconds later, a slanted knife mark appeared from the left shoulder to the right waist. The knife marks continued to expand. The wizard struggled twice. The huge body split into 2 halves and crashed to the ground. Win, Harley Quinn said excitedly. Mimo looked at Yi Tian, a pair of big white legs, constantly rubbing. Yi Tian, I'm so excited. Yi Tian, where is the drawing? Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. As expected of Yi Tian, an extremely powerful wizard in their eyes. Yi Tian only needs 1 knife. Don't be too happy, ordinary attacks can't kill us. The witch snorted coldly, without any worry on her face. As soon as the words came out, the faces of the Suicide Squad changed drastically. They all looked at the wizard. In their horrified eyes, the wizard body slowly integrate. However, in the next second, golden flames suddenly gushed out from the wizard's wound. If you look carefully, you can find the golden runes shining in it. The body was directly reduced to ashes. Everyone blinked and froze in place. Is this a prelude to the resurrection? Then they looked around cautiously. Stand by. Prevent the resurrected wizard from sneaking. Brother, the witch screamed heart-piercingly. Only magic can defeat magic. Yi Tian said flatly. It seems that your brother is not tough enough. I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you. The witch screamed terribly. The sharp sound, like sound waves, made everyone's eardrums ache. Then the witch waved her hand. Several people in the Suicide Squad flew upside down as if they had been hit by a truck. The witch's body returned to its original state. With disheveled hair and black aura all over, she floats slowly in the air. The black magic behind surged, forming huge amounts of storms. The frightening energy fluctuation exudes terrifying coercion. The entire square was surrounded by a huge black fog. It was as if it had been cut out individually. The whites of the witch's eyes dissipated and turned into pitch black. All the people who looked at him felt infinite fear in their hearts. It was like meeting a natural enemy. All those who fight against me should be punished by the gods. The witch's breath became more and more terrifying. Several people in the Suicide Squad were trembling all over, with veins protruding from their foreheads. They gritted their teeth and held on tightly, not letting themselves kneel on the ground. Yi Tian, I'm going to kill you. To avenge my brother. With a wave of the witch's hand, the overwhelming black mist condensed and swept towards Yi Tian. Yi Tian took a deep breath, his chest cavity bulging. Then there was a sudden blow, and endless cold air blew out. Freezing breath. The extreme cold came. The cold wind howled. Frost freezes everything. Everyone seems to have returned to winter. Everyone's scalps were numb. No matter how many times they have seen it, Yi Tian's astonishing method shocked them deeply. The black mist stopped rolling, and the surface was covered with a layer of crystal-clear blue ice. Freezing breath, even the fog can freeze. So scary. Yi Tian shook his palm, and countless golden runes flowed on the blade like liquid. The dark golden blade is extremely dazzling at this moment. The terrifying magic wave caused the surrounding space to vibrate. Like the surface of water, ripples were set off. At this moment the sky is divided into two halves. Half of it is black twisted mist. Half of it is a surging golden light. This knife will kill you. Yi Tian raised his arm slowly. Point the knife at the witch. The sharp sword light made the space continuously distort. Like rough water. As if it could be broken at any time. Why is your magic so powerful? The witch roared. The magic accumulation of more than 6,000 years is no match for the young bald monk in front of him. Long hair, little experience. There was a trace of disdain in Yi Tian's eyes. Times are changing. In American comics, terrifying and powerful beings are born all the time. If you don't know how to change yourself, you will only be surpassed and then eliminated. I'll give you one last chance, surrender. This was the third time Yi Tian spoke. In the environment, he saw people who looked like himself. Combine the words of Caecilius and Ancient One. He also realized that there was something wrong with his life experience. And witches have survived for more than 6,000 years, so they may know some secrets. Stop wishful thinking. I am the most powerful existence. The witch looked crazy. Someone could surpass her in magic. Compared with the wizard, she is more powerful. Yi Tian is not talking nonsense. The body disappeared in place. Appeared again, the body had already come in front of the witch. With a flick of the long vibranium knife in his hand, he stabbed directly into the witch's heart. The witch's eyes were full of disbelief. The moment Yi Tian disappeared, she was ready to release her magic. However, that knife had already been stuck in her heart. What a speed! In Nuoda's square, there is only the sound produced by the flow of magic. Everyone stared blankly at the witch who was stabbed in the heart by Yi Tian. He swallowed involuntarily at the moment. Just a moment ago, he was still thinking of ruling the world. A witch who is so powerful that it makes one's scalp tingle. Now, even his life is easily in his hands. This is almost a gap between two heavens. Let everyone feel like a dream. However, no matter how unbelievable, the reality that appeared in front of my eyes. But it was extremely glaring to tell everyone. This witch lived for more than 6,000 years and was regarded as a god by human beings. At this moment, it has become a plaything in Yi Tian's hands. Yi Tian thought about it. It can make her completely dissipate between heaven and earth. After a long silence, all the talents gasped one after another. Wake up, win, win, Amanda said in surprise. She looked at Yi Tian with eyes full of shock. Powerful, too strong. Even in the face of witches, super dangerous horrors exist. It only took one hit. How can you be so strong? The witch looked grim. Yi Tian raised his knife point. The witch's heart was dug out directly. The witch was terrified. The heart is her weakness. Once taken away, you will lose your freedom completely. She wanted to struggle, but Yi Tian's cold eyes pierced her cheeks with pain. The palm of the hand is slightly exerted. The witch let out a terrible roar. The pain protruding from her soul made her look hideous. Limp on the ground, her delicate body trembled constantly. I surrender, I surrender. The witch's lips trembled. Keep the green hills, and don't worry about no firewood. As long as you are alive, you have a chance to escape. As long as you are alive, there is a way to resurrect your brother. Yi Tian nodded, turned his palms, and the witch's heart was retracted into the system space. Lost witch's black magic support. The formation in the sky stopped. The black mist that filled the entire Midway city slowly dissipated. The sun shines down, warm enough to make people cry. The sun is coming out. We survived, too. It's great to see the sun again. Everyone held out their palms. He raised his head and basked in the sun to his heart's content. After experiencing the dark and cold, only then did they know that the sun is so charming. Fredge came to the witch. said fiercely. Give me back my June. Dressed roughly, the witch stood up again. His eyes were cold. She's not coming back. Veins popped out on Frega's forehead, and the intense anger made him tremble slightly. Give June back to me, or I'll kill you. Frege growled. The witch taunted firmly. You don't have the ability, and you don't have the guts. Yi Tian put away the knife and said flatly. Give him back his girlfriend. The witch hesitated for a moment, with unwillingness in her eyes. The body instantly turned into a puff of smoke, floating in the air. Yi Tian's strength forced her to obey, and the original standing place. A woman collapsed on the ground. June. Frege hugged the woman excitedly. The two kissed passionately together. The witch's body was floating in the air, her eyes were full of disdain. Said mockingly, June is my name. This woman's name is Joan Mooney. As soon as the words came out, the whole square fell into silence. There was a little awkwardness between Frege and Joan. Yi Tian almost laughed out loud. This thing is as embarrassing as calling the wrong name in bed. Killer Crocodile said, if you don't mind, I'm going to crawl back to the sewer. Deadshot hands a pistol to Harley Quinn. I'm going back to Gotham City, some things haven't been dealt with yet. Harley Quinn said, I plan to steal a car and take a road trip with Yi Tian. Want me to give you a ride? Deadshot said, if you don't drive, it's still acceptable. Harley Quinn cursed, why? Just when everyone was about to evacuate. Amanda came out, finger pointing on the nanobomb controller. Deathshot cursed angrily, I really hope you're dead. We just saved the world, what are you doing? Harley Quinn had disbelief in his eyes. At least say thank you to us. Harley Quinn's brain circuits left the rest of the Suicide Squad speechless. Amanda said blankly, thank you. Harley Quinn smiled and replied contentedly, you're welcome. Sish listened to the conversation between the two, with veins popping out of his forehead. The anger in his chest was burning fiercely. He asked fiercely, we've done so much with nothing in return. Amanda wasn't in the least bit intimidated. I will commute your sentence for 10 years. The people of Suicide Squad laughed disdainfully. The Boomerang mockingly said, 10 years off. Triple life imprisonment. Are you kidding me? What I want is to go out as a free man. The Boomerang became more and more excited, and finally roared. He moved closer to Amanda. The latter did not retreat at all. Yi Tian, help us. Harley Quinn said. The eyes of everyone in Suicide Squad lit up. Yes, as long as Yi Tian speaks. It's that simple. Yi Tian, they are all criminals. A look of anxiety flashed across Amanda's face. She is very clear about Yi Tian's temper. His identity as a high-level lighthouse country is of no use at all. She didn't have the slightest fear in the face of vicious super criminals like Boomerang and Deathshot. Only, I'm afraid of Yi Tian. In other words, ever since Yi Tian blocked the entrance of the White House, the top management of the entire Beacon country are more afraid of Yi Tian's hob meat. Yi Tian's eyes fell on Harley Quinn. How to help? The Boomerang said excitedly. Forgive us our sins, let us regain our freedom. I hate that damp prison. Yi Tian asked back, then what? Kill people and rob banks. I've seen your file. You killed hundreds of people. According to my temper, I would have killed you directly. Yi Tian snorted coldly. The group of people in front of them. Different personalities, different specialties. But one thing is the same. All are heinous criminals. Letting it out as a disaster. Amanda forms Suicide Squad. It can also be regarded as making the best use of everything. The faces of Suicide Squad's people changed. The Boomerang saw Yi Tian's gaze. His whole body tensed up, and sweat oozed from his forehead. It's not worth the effort, but, you save the world. It can still improve your life. Quote, Amanda breathed a sigh of relief. Just don't shoot them dead. Some conditions can still be accommodated. I want a TV, so I can watch black channels. The Killer Crocodile said. Amanda nodded. I want to see my daughter. Deadshot said. Face Yi Tian. He had no intention of arguing. Amanda nodded. It can be arranged. I'd like a coffee machine. Harley Quinn held up her hand, feeling a little downcast. Yi Tian didn't help her. I feel a little sad. What coffee machine do you want? Yi Tian asked. Oh wait. I took Harley Quinn away, and the favor you owe me is cancelled. Amanda nodded with a wry smile. Can she say no? Does she dare to refuse? Facing Deadshot, she can take advantage of language loopholes. Then bargain. He even turned his face and refused to recognize anyone. Face Yi Tian. She has no tricks at all. After all, Yi Tian has the strength to turn the tables. Yi Tian, the only good thing is that you are a good person. Amanda said. An existence almost comparable to Superman, without any weaknesses. I really regret that I didn't let you join the Suicide Squad. Thinking of this, Amanda twitched in distress. Yi Tian smiled and didn't answer. Just kidding, under your hands, I am exhausted and cannot be promoted. Wait for the appointment of the deputy director of Lousy Shield. We are equals. Yi Tian, I'm so happy. Harley Quinn jumped on Yi Tian. Kissed hard. Everyone in the Suicide Squad scolded Falk inwardly. People are more popular than Deadman. A thigh hug is good. Amanda called a helicopter. Everyone soon came to the temporary base on the border of Midway City. Doctor Strange walked over. With the opening of the portal, Yi Tian took Harley Quinn and the witch and disappeared midway. In the room, a portal appears. Yi Tian and the others walked out. Going home, Doctor Strange said. In just one day, he experienced a lot. Also saw many supernatural beings. Yi Tian stretched himself. He wants to go back to the room to bask in the sun. Harley Quinn followed with her big white legs. The buttocks are twisted and very hot. Yi Tian patted Harley Quinn's upright buttocks. There is a saying in our East. The grace of saving life should be repaid by springs. How are you going to repay me? Yi Tian suddenly remembered a sentence. He is tall and handsome, and there is no way to repay the grace of saving his life, he can only promise it with his body. Ugly, there is no way to repay the grace of saving life, only to repay in the next life. Yonkwon. Harley Quinn froze for a moment, her cheeks flushed. Oh, you're such a nuisance. My body won't take it. Yi Tian. After a while, he understood. My heart suddenly became hot. It is worthy of Harley Quinn of the famous DC. Comprehension ability full marks. Ahem, Steven, if you're okay, go out for a walk. Yi Tian shouted. Doctor Strange outside the house replied. I haven't slept in 2 days and don't feel like going out. He came over. See Harley Quinn next to Yi Tian. There was a silence. Quietly said. Then I go. Wait until Doctor Strange leaves. Yi Tian turned over and drew the curtains. Yi Tian, and her. Harley Quinn pointed to the witch June floating in the air. Yi Tian stared. Go out and watch TV. The witch June nodded helplessly. At this time, Harley Quinn was already lying on Yi Tian's body. A few hours later, the wooden bed collapsed with a bang. Yi Tian's eyes widened in disbelief, looking at the dots of red plum blossoms on the bed sheet. Is this your first time? Harley Quinn has disheveled hair and blurry eyes. He nodded obediently. I have never had a relationship with Joker. Congratulations to the host for breaking the ring and getting the reward Okamoto 0.01. Yi Tian. A real man never wears a rain cover. At the same time, he was shocked to find out. There was an inexplicable fluid in my body. Viscous but exudes a strange energy. It turned out to be Dionysus Factor. Tricurve Wing Building. Fury handing over files to Phil Coulson. This is the appointment letter of Yi Tian's deputy director, you can give it to him tomorrow. Fury came to the garage alone and drove the car away. It's a Chevrolet with a full defense system. Connect to Hill Agent. The AI inside the vehicle makes the call. SHIELD's call is through an encrypted secure channel. It can prevent being intercepted or deciphered. Fury said, I need you to go back to New York, things are serious. On the other end of the phone, Hill's voice came, 4 hours. Fury said, you only have 3 hours. Purge plan begins. Traffic light intersection. He couldn't help but rubbed between his brows. I don't know what's wrong today, I always feel a little uncomfortable. He was in a trance and didn't notice that there were very few vehicles on the street. Less abnormal. Just at this time, a police car approaches from a distance. Fury sighed. Do you want to get out of the car for inspection? In the lighthouse country, the political rights of blacks are very low. The police can conduct investigations at any time. If you resist or disobey, you will be shot directly. Fury held the steering wheel with one hand and reached for his documents with the other. Just at this time, Several police cars poured out from both sides again, and slammed into them fiercely. Fury slammed hard on the steering wheel. The powerful impact made him dizzy for a while. In the nasal cavity, blood flowed down. Fracture found. Recommended injection of anesthesia. Smart computer opening in the car. On the front screen of the car, an X-check perspective of Fury's arm appears. The left arm bone inside is in the shape of a fracture. At this time, the compartment of the police car opened. A few people in special police uniforms rushed down. Nearby areas, congressional police have not been deployed. Hydra. Fury immediately understood the identity of the group in front of him. SHIELD, has it been infiltrated like this by Hydra? Fury murmured. The cleanup program has only just begun. He himself was attacked. Who the hell? Fury narrowed his one eye. Think back to the man who knew the plan. Very few people know about this plan. And they are all senior executives of SHIELD, and they are also their confidants. Fury gave a wry smile. It seems that the penetration of Hydra is more serious than I imagined. He gasped. The pain in his arm made his head covered in cold sweat. Fury took out the anesthetic with difficulty and injected it into his body. Get me out of here. The automatic rifle in his hand fired wildly. Da da da. The bullets were as dense as raindrops, carrying huge amounts of shocks, body and glass cover. Power system failure. Then restart quickly, Fury said hastily. The bullets outside have already landed on the car body, leaving bullet holes one by one. It won't be long before Guozi will be torn apart by bullets. He was either captured or killed. Armor completeness 85%. And, this number is decreasing at an extremely fast rate. At this moment, several mercenaries brought out an electric hammer machine. The electric hammer is fixed on the ground. The metal head at the front hit the window hard. Boom. The entire vehicle was almost thrown off. The completeness of the window is 32%. Boom. GU was hit again. Accompanied by the shaking of the vehicle. The integrity of the window, down to 1%. Turn on counter system. On the co-pilot of the vehicle, a light machine gun turret suddenly rose. The moment the window was broken, all of Fury's emotions disappeared, and there was a sharp killing intent in his eyes. The king of agents, the director of SHIELD, once again demonstrated what strength is. Machine gun turrets fired wildly. Da da da. Blue flames spewed from the muzzle. The bullets slanted out. Not only that, with the shaking of the muzzle, every bullet was just right, preventing the mercenaries from attacking. Make the enemy unable to continue shooting. Gun fighting. This king of agents showed his strength in times of crisis. Power system restoration. The vehicle slammed into the police car and drove into the distance. Activate the flight system. Flight system damaged. Contact Phil Coulson. Communication system damaged. Do you still have the function intact? Fury cursed. Air conditioning system in good condition. Go find Yi Tian, Fury said. At this time, he can't trust any agent. Distance 32 kilometers, 5% chance of escape. Fury's eyelids twitched. What's the difference between 5% and death? Look for a superhero with a high safety factor nearby. Spider-Man Peter Parker, Queens, 13 kilometers away, 18% chance of escape. Historical Stark Mansion Iron Man Tony, 10 kilometers away, 32,640% chance of escape. Captain America Steve Rogers in Apartment Building B, 2.3 kilometers away, 85% chance of escape. Go find Steve, Fury said in a deep voice. The best candidate is definitely Yi Tian. But at this moment, only Captain America is the best choice. At this moment, several police cars behind were chasing crazily. The powerful firepower is constantly destroying the power system of the car. If it goes on like this, it won't take long before the vehicle will be scrapped. Full power on, Fury said. This will damage the power system. Follow the order, Fury said in a deep voice. After a specially modified Chevrolet, the speed increased again. Like a jet of black lightning, it left the surrounding vehicles far behind. At this moment, a person walked slowly in the middle of the intersection. Wears a black mask, arms of steel, clearly the identity of the visitor. It was the Winter Soldier who was beaten half to death by Yi Tian in Shanjiao town. He was held by SHIELD. He was rescued by Hydra during the delivery. Now, he appears again. Winter Soldier raised the gun in his hand. Gently pull the trigger. A maglev bomb crossed an arc. Stick it on the bottom of the car. Boom. The flames swept all around, and the violent impact threw the generals away. If it is not specially modified, this bomb can reduce the entire car to ashes. Fury's mind went blank. The eyes also became blurred. This rather old man, resisting the discomfort, took out an instrument from his arms. After opening, the scorching heat distorts the air. Winter Soldier came over and tore open the door. And in the carriage, Fury was no longer there. A hole has appeared in the ground. There are traces of being cut by high-temperature flames around. Hoo-hoo. Fury staggered and hid in the apartment in Block B. He opened Captain America's room and nestled on the sofa. And find some gauze. He endured the excruciating pain and took off his shirt. On his abdomen, there was a bloody scar. It was scratched by a piece of iron when the car exploded. Even the king of mercenaries is just an ordinary person with a mortal body. After treating the wound, he has a full head. In a dimly lit room, his dark skin perfectly blended into the darkness. He kept thinking about countermeasures in his mind. Only one person can handle this situation. Yi Tian, Fury murmured. Now this situation, only Yi Tian can handle it. We must do everything possible to contact Yi Tian. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.